Uncle Henry Show. Thank you for listening to the Uncle Henry Show. A beautiful, beautiful morning. Just a terrific, if you love moisture, if you love humidity, what a wonderful time it is for you. You can listen, of course, or you can watch. We have video available at the News Radio 710 WNTM Facebook page if you'd like to look in the studio and see what I am doing, which is nothing. But you can still verify that by watching at News Radio 710 WNTM's Facebook page. Over the last 24 hours, lots of national attention toward Alabama about this, the ABC board wanting to say you can't drink margaritas out of a pitcher. You can't buy a pitcher of margaritas. That only beer was legal in a pitcher, and so it would be illegal for some establishment to sell you margaritas in a pitcher. This was picked up nationally, linked on the Drudge Report, reported all over the country, and now the ABC board is backing off. The ABC board, according to AL.com, they have announced an end to that prohibition on ordering margaritas in a pitcher. So you now, if you were fretting over it, if you were worrying about it, if you were sad that your visits to Mexican restaurants could be altered because your inability to purchase margaritas by the pitcher, you should feel some joy today because the ABC board has backed off of the pitcher prohibition. Now, the spokesperson for the ABC board says that the publicity, the nationwide publicity, had nothing to do with this. Had nothing at all to do with it. The fact that it was being reported all over the country and people thought it was silly on a nationwide level, it had nothing to do with it. The spokesperson for the ABC board said that they had been considering it for a while. They discussed the issue with Alabama Beverage Licensees Association and decided to change. It had nothing to do with the publicity. So again, if your nightmare is over, you, the margarita-loving citizen of Alabama, you'll be able to order them by the pitcher. And we'll have to watch and see, will this be reported the way the original story was? The original story was spread far and wide because it looked like a southern state was doing something silly. Will the reversal get reported in the same volume nationwide? I kind of doubt it. We have traffic and weather together every 10 minutes on the nines, and then right back with more Uncle Henry Show.
Saver traffic from the Dean McCrary Audi Traffic Center.
Quite a bit of rain continues to move up from the Gulf throughout our region this morning, and the drive-in today is extremely wet and hazardous, so just be aware of that. A little extra time might not be a bad idea this morning as you head out the door. But we aren't seeing, though, any particularly big accidents. One crash has been with us for a while, though, out of the roadway. This is on eastbound I-10 before March Road, about mile marker 8 as you come from the Mississippi state line into Alabama. Vehicle that ran off the roadway into a ditch. I'm Ray Romero.
This report is brought to you by LifeLock. It's morning. Here's an eye-opener. LifeLock can see more threats to your identity than you can see if you're just monitoring your credit. And if something happens, a U.S.-based specialist can work to fix it. Go to LifeLock.com. Use promo code RISK to save 10%.
Gulf Coast weather from Local 15 and the Kemco Metal Buildings Weather Center.
Hello and happy Friday. I'm meteorologist Jake Dunn with Local 15. We've got, you guessed it, more showers and storms in the forecast today. We'll call it a 50% chance of getting wet, mainly along the coast during the first half of the day. Then those storms will venture inland as we move into the afternoon. All of that said, expect mostly cloudy skies and a high of 90. I'm meteorologist Jake Dunn for this iHeart radio station.
This report is brought to you by LifeLock. It's morning. Here's an eye-opener. LifeLock can see more threats to your identity than you can see if you're just monitoring your credit. And if something happens, a U.S.-based specialist can work to fix it. Go to LifeLock.com. Use promo code RISK to save 10%.
This morning at 9, ask the expert. Then Rush at 11. Right now, it's Uncle Henry on News Radio 710 WNTM.
Thank you for listening to the Uncle Henry Show here on News Radio 710 WNTM, 99.5 FM The Jag. You can watch on the News Radio 710 WNTM Facebook page. Good morning to Bama Big Man and Angelo, both watching on the News Radio 710 WNTM Facebook page. Coming up in about 10 minutes, I'm going to share with you a story that Andrea Ramey did for Local 15 about the mayor's race and the discussion of crime and policing. So we'll get into that in the next segment of the show in about 10 minutes. Before we go there, from the grand and exciting world of politics, of course, we have President Trump. He was not only a very successful businessman, but happened to have been a television star. Someone that I just enjoyed watching his show. It was one of my favorite shows, watching his show, watching him fire people. And other celebrities, we've heard other celebrities want to jump into politics. The Rock, the wrestler turned movie actor, The Rock. Somebody's already formed some kind of official committee to try and get The Rock to run for president. And then yesterday we were talking on this show, and other people were talking nationally about Kid Rock, the rapper, and I think he owns land in Alabama. I know that Kid Rock owns land somewhere in the South and has something like a compound that he rides around in a truck and lives kind of like a Ted Nugent existence. But there was speculation yesterday that Kid Rock was going to run for the Senate in Michigan because he put KidRockForSenate.com on the internet, and he confirmed it. He did a blog post yesterday where he confirms that he is absolutely running for the Senate. I don't know if he has a chance or not, but I'm actually very impressed with a strategy of his. He says in his blog post that a lot of politicians write books and then have the book come out right before their campaign or during their campaign. And I've noticed this myself, that some people running for president or the Senate, they'll release a book, and then you'll have political action committees or political party groups buy copies of those books in great numbers, and it's kind of an unusual way of contributing to the campaign. And then they'll hand those books out. Well, he's going to do the same thing, but it's going to be music. He's going to release music, well, what he calls music. And people, I'm guessing, and he's running as a Republican, we could have a strange situation where Republicans in Michigan, or maybe from around the country, who would never, ever want to listen to Kid Rock, we may have them end up buying his music just to support this campaign. I think it's ingenious. It is a very clever way of selling his music. And he claims to be sincere about wanting to run for office. Whether he is or not, I don't know. But as far as a sales technique, very, very clever of Kid Rock. All right, crime in Mobile next. Uncle Henry Show. Hey, this is Uncle Henry. If you have a tree problem, let me introduce you to someone who can help you solve it. That's Donnie Chastang at Chastang's Tree Service. Donnie Chastang offers residential and commercial tree service, and this includes tree removal, tree trimming, stump grinding, tree topping, and deadwooding. And I really like the fact that Donnie has invested in all the best state-of-the-art equipment needed to handle any job, no matter. And good morning to Facebook. We're here. Good morning, Facebook viewers. Nita Jeffers of Baymonette, Alabama. It's such a, and Terry Sims of wherever you're from. It's such an honor to know that people in Baymonette, somebody in Baymonette is taking this show. Brenton Odom, I think he's in Florida. Graham Green still likes Alabama and remains in Alabama. Graham Green of smarthomeamerica.org. Graham, no exaggeration, every day, Graham Green of smarthomeamerica.org, every day now, somebody approaches me and wants to tell me the secret about the Don't Goof Re-Roof, the whole fortified roof movement in getting a roof. Every day, somebody comes up to me as if it's a secret. And you can, by the way, you on Facebook, you can find out at smarthomeamerica.org. But this whole roof thing, I have a feeling it is going to be, it's just going to take off like nobody ever would have dreamed it would have taken off. It is Friday. That means that the Press Register has their weekend section. So what's on the front of the weekend section? It's Game of Thrones. Yes, my company once again wants me to review Game of Thrones, so I'm going to be forced to watch Game of Thrones Sunday night on HBO. And Westworld, HBO's Westworld was just nominated for 22 Emmy Awards, being praised for having the most naked people ever in a TV show and the most cuss words. So I'm sure that Game of Thrones is going to want to, they're going to want to outdo everybody else. And so I'm probably going to be hit with a barrage of cuss words, naked people in Game of Thrones. So, and the nudity in Game of Thrones is worse. Well, I don't know. It's apples and oranges, because in Westworld it's quantity. They literally have warehouses full of naked people on Westworld. So it's just so much nudity, it make you barf. But then in Game of Thrones, there might be one or two naked people, but they're dirty. They look like they've never taken a bath. So it's also make you barf. Just a lot of really nasty naked people on HBO. But that's what's coming up. Naked, nasty people on HBO Sunday night. Wouldn't you think they wouldn't be naked ever? Look how cold it looks. They ought to keep some kind of an animal skin on them. Something. All right, let's see. All right, stand by. We've got, right after the traffic, we're going to talk about this report on the mayor's race in Mobile and the perception of crime.
Is brought to you by LifeLock. It's morning. Here's an eye-opener. LifeLock can see more threats to your identity than you can see if you're just monitoring your credit. And if something happens, a U.S.-based specialist can work to fix it. Go to LifeLock.com. Use promo code RISK to save 10%.
Now, Gulf Coast weather from Local 15.
Good morning and TGIF. I'm meteorologist Jake Dunn. We've got mostly cloudy skies in the forecast today with a 50% chance of storms and a high of 90. Should be a quiet Friday night. We fall down to 74 and then expect highs in the upper 80s to near 90 this weekend with more showers and storms, especially on Sunday. I'm meteorologist Jake Dunn for this iHeart radio station.
Roll Tide. This is the Uncle Henry Show on News Radio 710 WNTM.
Uncle Henry Show. Thank you for listening to the Uncle Henry Show. News from Fox and from Local 15's Darwin coming up in about 10 minutes. Speaking of Local 15, I want to share a story with you that Andrea Ramey did last night on Local 15 about the mayor's race in Mobile and the issue of crime and policing. This caught my attention because of the idea of whether or not crime is up or down. I remember during the Sam Jones years, some citizens complained about crime in Mobile, and Mayor Jones said that we didn't really have a lot of crime. We just had a perception of crime. We were perceiving that there was crime when there might not have been as much crime as we perceived. Do you remember that? Longtime listeners remember that. That was several years ago, that we had arguments about the perception of crime. And now we're in a situation where once again, we are shown stats saying that crime is down, even though watching the news, it looks like it's up. And this has become an issue in the mayor's race, as you might imagine. So here, let me share this with you. This is Andrea Ramey of Local 15 covering the mayor's race and how crime and policing are being discussed in the mayor's race.
Mobile Mayor Sandy Stimpson talked about crime trends here in the city. Local 15's Andrea Ramey joins us now. Andrea, the overall crime trend seems to be downward.
That's right, Kim. That's not the perception many have, but according to this chart showing major crimes like murder and robbery, over time, crime has continued to go down.
The crime situation and violent crime is a real issue in Mobile.
Crime is a focal point in this year's mayoral race. Former Mayor Sam Jones, who's running for re-election, in Facebook posts says the city could be doing more.
We've got to have some prevention strategies.
With that conversation going on, I thought it was important to clear the record.
Today, current Mayor Sandy Stimpson, who is seeking a second term, addressed the city's crime-fighting strategies, pointing out successful prevention programs and the department's shift to hotspot policing.
Our enforcement will have laser-like focus on criminals, not on communities.
Traditional policing tended to target the community in which that hotspot was occurring. In other words, when we say targeting a community, it was saturation patrol and output-driven, number of arrests made. Intelligence-led initiatives are totally different.
Comparing the crime rates between the different administrations isn't as simple as it sounds. How crimes like rape and aggravated assault are reported have both changed. And in 2013, the year Stimpson took office, it was determined the first precinct had been downgrading crimes and falsifying reports to make the stats look better. Overall, some of the lowest years for crime have occurred in the last 3 years.
We are not here to claim victory because a graph is trending in the right direction. When it's zero, we'll claim victory.
The homicide rate did jump last year with an unprecedented number of teen gun deaths. The homicide rate is on pace to be just as high this year with 22 homicides in the city already. 2 of those victims were teens.
So there you have it. I found the whole conversation quite interesting, especially the discussion of how the current administration wants to target criminals and not communities. And what that, you may not be aware of what that means. My interpretation of that, based on what happened several years ago, there was a technique being used by Mobile police several years ago during the Jones administration, where if there was crime going on in a neighborhood, sometimes the police would go into the neighborhood and everybody that was out on the street was considered a suspect. I'm trying to think of the right way to put this. I got phone calls on the Uncle Henry Show when this was going on where people would call in and claim that they would be standing in their own front yard with a beer and the police would come at them in their own front yard. They weren't doing anything. They were just standing in their yard, and they would get hassled by the police. And it was because they were in a neighborhood that was considered high crime. I forget what this operation was called, but they eventually put an end to it because a lot of people who were not up to no good ended up getting rounded up anyway. So that has been a change in the last few years where people are not an entire city street is not rounded up, just specific criminals. It is a blast from the past, though, to hear that the stats indicate that crime is going down, but you may be perceiving more crime. That is definitely a blast from the past. All right, we have news coming up next from Fox and from Local 15's Darwin, and then we will continue the Uncle Henry Show here on News Radio 710 WNTM and 99.5 FM The Jag. If you'd like to get in touch with me, email address unclehenry@gmail.com. That's unclehenry@gmail.com. You can also continue to watch on the News Radio 710 WNTM Facebook page if you want to look at me just standing in here.
This is a Bloomberg Market Minute. Shares of J.P. Morgan Chase are little changed after the big bank reported quarterly net income and revenue that beat analyst estimates, but fixed income.
And good morning to Facebook. Hello, Facebook. Good morning to Scotty White of ScottyWhite.com, who his website, ScottyWhite.com, does look like a professional website. So if you go there, you're going to see, hey, this looks professional. ScottyWhite.com. Also, I noticed that former Uncle Henry Show call screener Leanna is up early and watching the show. Good morning to Leanna. Let's see. Let's have a listen to Leanna, one of her previous appearances on the Uncle Henry Show when she worked here.
Nothing. Ian says it looks like I don't have anything under my sweater.
Leanna, who a lot of listeners had troubles with Leanna as the call screener.
I'm sick of Leanna. And that's right. I'm sick of Leanna.
Well, that's I probably shouldn't have played that, should I? Because it's the beginning of the day. Leanna wants to have a marvelous day. Leanna, I apologize for sharing with you one of your great failures there with that caller. Let me instead flip this to where you have someone who's praising you. Here's someone who loved Leanna, I think singing about Leanna.
Mobile's got the lovable Leanna. Oh, that's good.
Leanna, what does it feel like to have someone sing about you like this person?
Mobile's got the lovable Leanna. Oh, that's good.
Does that make you want to pack heat? I'm very blessed that no one's singing about me like that. There's something about that person's singing.
Mobile's got the lovable Leanna. Oh, that's good.
In fact, let me see. That same person that was singing about Leanna. Let me see I think I've got one more clip from that same person. Yeah, this is that person, the person that was singing about the lovely Leanna. Let's listen to that person. Is that the most disturbing laugh you've ever heard in your life? And that person loves Leanna is singing about her. I've got this stored in the audio archives. Under what circumstances would I ever want to trot that out, do you think? Is that ever appropriate for me to use on the air? See, I can't think of maybe I need to erase this and get it out of our computer system. Does that give you the creeps, Ariel? Me too. There's something very... let me see if I can find that. I might have one more clip from that same unusual person. Let me look and see. I'm trying to remember what they talked about. I've saved audio for like 15 years and have forgotten what I've got and what it's called in the system. Everything is named. And I would like to find that something else that other person. Oh, it was praising Ben Brooks. Let me see if I can find that. Bear with me, because I don't know if I what I named it. All right, let's see. No, that may be gone. I'll have to. No, here it is. Here's the same creepy person praising local politician, now a judge, Ben Brooks.
Good job, Ben Brooks.
Do you think he probably wants me to erase that, doesn't he?
Good job, Ben Brooks.
If I combined that with the laugh, has a different meaning. All right, I don't know why we went down that road. I would blame Leanna, her jumping in on the show caused it to go in the wrong direction. All right, we're about to go. Let's see, radio. We'll be back on the radio in about 3 minutes. Before we go back on the radio, let's see, I had the weekend section of the paper, which was Game of Thrones. So Sunday night HBO, more nudity, more cussing, more people being stabbed. That's what they do in Game of Thrones, is stab each other. All right, what else? Oh, Planet of the Apes. Now, it's also cold in Planet of the Apes. I don't know if you can tell, but there's snow. I wonder if the horse thinks, first I've got to put up with human beings on me, and now the apes are on me. What is the next animal to get on me and ride me? This is the horse probably wonder, when is there going to be Planet of the Horses, where they don't get ridden. Let's see. Let's see what else. More Game of Thrones. My goodness. There's more Game of Thrones. The paper's full of Game of Thrones. Look at that. Okay, well, I wonder how many maybe they should have put this on the front page and more people would buy the paper if they had Game of Thrones on the front page. All right, we're about to go back to radio in about 1 minute on the Uncle Henry Show, and I'm going to take this less than a minute to drink some coffee, so please stand by.
Them on Lakeside Drive in Mobile, between Cottage Hill and Highway 90, less than 1 mile from I-65. Their warehouse showroom has the largest patio selection on the Gulf Coast. They manufacture frames and cushions right here in Mobile, so they can sell at the very best price to you. See coastalpatiowarehouse.com and at 751 Lakeside Drive.
If you want to work until you drop, reduce your standard of living in retirement, or lose more of your hard-earned money in the stock market, then just ignore me. But if you'd like to generate a steady, predictable income, I'm talking real wealth and financial security for as long as you live, then listen to this. A free report is now available that reveals the money-making secrets Wall Street and the banks don't want you to know. It reveals how you can get guaranteed growth, safety, and wealth-building power without risking your money in the Wall Street casino. To get your free special report, visit bankonyourself.com. That's bankonyourself.com.
Your home for traffic and weather on the 9s every morning. This is News Radio 710 WNTM.
Uncle Henry Show, thank you for listening to the Uncle Henry Show here on News Radio 710 WNTM, 99.5 FM, The Jag. We've got, in about 15 minutes, NBC News Radio national correspondent Joe Gomez. He is covering the National Governors Association meeting that is going on in Rhode Island. And I saw that this group, National Governors Association, it typically draws 30 governors or fewer. And it has 32 this year attending. I don't know if Kate Ivory of Alabama is going or not. She may be there. Who knows? But we'll find, maybe Joe Gomez can tell us. He'll report on that. We'll find out what they do when they're there. I saw a story about it that said that it's a sellout. Registered attendees up to 1,800. So there's only 32 governors there, and then everybody else is not a governor. And I guess I didn't know anything about this. Maybe, so all these other people are there for what? To lobby governors? Could you call this instead the National Lobby the Governors Convention? Because why else would there be 1,800 people there? I don't know if Joe Gomez can answer those questions or not, but that's coming up in about 15 minutes on the Uncle Henry Show. We got the Emmy Awards announced. The Emmy nominations were announced yesterday for excellence in television. What does the media elite think is worthy of praise? Well, Saturday Night Live spent their entire season hammering Donald Trump and members of his administration, including Jeff Sessions. And because of their merciless hammering of Donald Trump and Jeff Sessions and Sean Spicer, they received 22 Emmy nominations, tied for first place in Emmy nominations. So if you wish to be rewarded by the media elite, that would be one way of getting rewarded. You would hammer the president. And the Emmy Awards show, I don't know when the show is going to be, but it's going to be hosted by Stephen Colbert, who the FCC looked into him because he said something lewd about Donald Trump and Putin that involved body parts in those two men. And so he gets to host he'll get to give awards to a guy who has insulted the president will get to give awards to other people insulting the president. So it'll be quite a show. Maybe it'll be the most political award show ever, just based on those things alone. Traffic and weather together every 10 minutes on the 9s, and then the Uncle Henry Show continues.
710 Time Saver Traffic from the Main Street Flooring and Design Traffic Center.
Tow truck is now on the scene of our accident involving a vehicle that ran off the roadway on I-10 near the Range Line exit. They have not been blocking traffic here, just working primarily on the shoulder. The main thing you need to know this morning, though, is the weather. And there's not much you need to know, really, other than it's raining and quite a bit throughout the region. This is going to make for a hazardous drive-in for most of the morning. With Time Saver Traffic, I'm Ray Romero.
This report is brought to you by LifeLock. It's morning. Here's an eye-opener. LifeLock can see more threats to your identity than you can see if you're just monitoring your credit. And if something happens, a U.S.-based specialist can work to fix it. Go to LifeLock.com. Use promo code RISK to save 10%.
Now, Gulf Coast weather from Local 15.
Good morning and TGIF. I'm meteorologist Jake Dunn. We've got mostly cloudy skies in the forecast today with a 50% chance of storms and a high of 90. Should be a quiet Friday night. We fall down to 74 and then expect highs in the upper 80s to near 90 this weekend with more showers and storms, especially on Sunday. I'm meteorologist Jake Dunn for this iHeart radio station.
This report is brought to you by LifeLock. It's morning. Here's an eye-opener. LifeLock can see more threats to your identity than you can see if you're just monitoring your credit. And if something happens, a U.S.-based specialist can work to fix it. Go to LifeLock.com. Use promo code RISK to save 10%.
Traffic updates every 10 minutes on the 9s every morning. This is the Uncle Henry Show on News Radio 710 WNTM.
Uncle Henry Show, thank you for listening to the Uncle Henry Show. Coming up in about 10 minutes, Joe Gomez, NBC News Radio national correspondent, reporting from the National Governors Association. Ariel, join me here. I want to ask you about this. I've never gone downtown for the pole vaulting. Now, this Saturday, tomorrow, it's pole vaulting in downtown Mobile. This has been going on for years now. They pole vault from 9 in the morning until midnight. Have you ever participated in this or gone to watch it?
No, I don't know why. It's just kind of been one of those things where it's like, oh, look at them, good for them, and I don't participate or watch.
So have you ever pole vaulted even in high school? No. Now you laugh.
No.
Why not?
No, because I wanted to join the track team very, very bad and throw I think it's called the shot put.
Yes.
They wouldn't let me do it.
Why not?
Because I couldn't even pick it up.
Well, yes, I can understand. If you can't pick up the shot put, you can't throw it.
Yeah, so once again, I was, in charge of the H2O for that team as well.
Now, you're doing pole fitness.
Right.
You don't see any parallel between pole fitness and pole vaulting?
They both use a pole.
Right.
But see, this is different because you're throwing yourself somewhere with a pole. I haven't thrown myself anywhere. I have maybe circulated a pole, but I ain't thrown myself anywhere.
I've never considered it the way you put it, but yes, you are throwing yourself. You're vaulting your body,
thrusting yourself into God knows where,
into the air.
I'm not thrusting myself into the atmosphere via a pole. I just don't have time for that.
Okay.
But congratulations to anybody who has gotten good enough to do that.
Yes, congratulations to them. Do you agree with me that it's unusual that it goes on until midnight?
Yeah, because that kind of sounds like one of those 9 to 5 activities. But okay, yeah, we can do this to midnight.
Okay, all right. Well, Ariel, thank you. I guess you're not going.
No.
Okay. Well, all right. Well, look, to each his own. Yes. Thank you, Ariel. I've never been, so I don't. They say it's from 9 to midnight. Does that mean that somebody's pole vaulting at 11:45 p.m.? And how good are you? How good a vault can it be at 11:45 p.m.? Do people practice leading up to this and do night vaults so that they can be acclimated to vaulting at 11:45 p.m.? I really don't understand all this. Now, there's another here. Now, listen to this. Saturday in Pensacola, Seville Quarter, they're having the Running of the Bulls, a charity event. And this is a reenactment of Pamplona's Running of the Bulls, which happens in Spain. But in the Pensacola version, they don't use bulls. They have Pensacola roller girls, women from a roller derby. I guess they're roller derby women, and they're going to have waffle bats to waffle bat people as they skate up behind them. So that makes the pole vaulting sound far more civilized. Coming up, National Governors Association. Joe Gomez, NBC News Radio national correspondent. We'll find out what the governors are doing this weekend at their association meeting. That's next.
You've heard the news.
It's a new generation of missiles.
You know the story.
All options are on the table.
Now it's time to share your opinion.
We have a very serious issue in the world right now called North Korea.
News Radio 710, WNTM.
Football season will be here before we know it, and I wanted to be ready for it. So I called TSI Alarms and Audio, locally owned and operated. They handle my monitored home security, but I know they also do much more, including home audio and video. So I told them what I wanted, a big TV for football and a modern sound system, and I told them my budget. Then TSI worked with my budget, and they made my football dreams come true. I now have a big TV and a state-of-the-art Sonos soundbar and subwoofer, all professionally installed. Now I love watching TV, and I never knew how much I could love a subwoofer. You should do the same. Make your football dreams come true. Call TSI Alarms and Audio, 251-662-0500, or visit them online. The website is tsialarmsandaudio.com.
If you run your own business, when you're not on the job, you're on the road, in your van. Signs that say detour and do not enter are just plain bad for business. Well, here's a sign that's great for business. It says 0% financing and up to 2 years complimentary scheduled maintenance on Mercedes-Benz Sprinter or Metris vans. Powerful, capable, and affordable. That's Mercedes-Benz Van Power. With pioneering safety technologies and low total cost of ownership, Mercedes-Benz vans are the right choice for your business. Check out the full lineup of Mercedes-Benz vans starting at just $25,995. 0% financing and up to 2 years complimentary scheduled maintenance. That's van power for all. Mercedes-Benz Vans, born to run.
Starting at
Hello, Facebook. Welcome back to the Uncle Henry Show. We're still in the radio break, waiting for Joe Gomez's phone call so that we can find out what the governors are doing. Let's see. We've covered a lot already today, haven't we? Well, you haven't, because you've probably not paid much attention. But for Ariel and I have covered a lot today already. It is Friday weekend, do what you want to do weekend when the working day is through weekend. I was looking at the weekend events. Right before we went to break, I mentioned that in Pensacola they have the running of the bulls, just like in Spain, but instead of bulls, it's women on roller skates with waffle bats. That I would like to find out who thought of that. And if you participate, do you have to sign a release so that you don't get mad when they hit you with a waffle bat? Also this weekend, Loda Art Walk tonight from 6 to 9, Lower Dolphin Arts District, downtown Mobile. If you're artsy, it's your thing. And lots of fishing. You've got the Blue Marlin Grand Championship going on at the wharf in Orange Beach, and the Roy Martin Young Anglers Fishing Tournament, Dolphin Island. So a lot going on this weekend with pole vaulting, running of the bulls, fishing, all of that. I'm going to do my best to be a non-participant in most activities for the weekend. Oh, I see that in Pensacola Saturday night, WWE Live. I don't run into a lot of WWE fans these days, but they must still be out there. All right, stand by. We go back. There's Joe Gomez. We go back to radio.
Weather Center.
Hello and happy Friday. I'm meteorologist Jake Dunn with Local 15. We've got, you guessed it, more showers and storms in the forecast today. We'll call it a 50% chance of getting wet, mainly along the coast during the first half of the day. Then those storms will venture inland as we move into the afternoon. All of that said, expect mostly cloudy skies and a high of 90. I'm meteorologist Jake Dunn for this iHeart radio station.
News? Check. Traffic and weather? Check. Opinions? Check. This is the Uncle Henry Show, only on News Radio 710 WNTM.
Uncle Henry Show, thank you for listening. Coming up in about 10 minutes, news from Fox, news from Local 15. Right now, we've got NBC News national correspondent Joe Gomez with us. Joe Gomez, good morning.
Good morning.
Hey, Joe Gomez, have you ever been to a National Governors Association meeting before?
No, not really. In fact, I to be honest, I didn't even know they had meetings like this. But this is my first here in Providence, Rhode Island.
I'm interested in what you learn. I was reading about it and saw that they have about 30 or just over 30 governors there, but there are something like 1,800 people attending. What are those? Who are those other people? They're not governors. Are they trying to lobby the governors?
Yeah, you have a lot of lobbyists. You have some people that are you have journalists. Obviously, you have the governor's staff. You have some hangers-on, I guess.
Okay, so just whenever people of power are gathered together, there are a lot of people that show up. So,
well, yeah, definitely. That's for sure. Right, especially at the governor's conference, because you have so many governors. There's so many lobbyists here. It's pretty remarkable, actually.
So, Joe Gomez, what are they going to be talking about? What are they going to be the big topics or big goals of this meeting?
Well, I think one of the big goals is to kind of address the opioid epidemic. And this is pretty far-reaching. I mean, I wasn't too caught up on it, to be honest, but I was quickly put up to speed on this yesterday after speaking with the governor of Rhode Island at length. We talked about this for like close to half an hour, and she was telling me, just how far-reaching it is and how, some states really are trying to deal with this crisis. And it's not just heroin, apparently. It's also painkillers. Because I guess people start getting hooked on painkillers. They go to the doctor's office and say they have pain for whatever reason. They start taking these painkillers, and then before you know it, it turns into an addiction. And then that could lead to all sorts of other problems. And so there's a really bad problem in Ohio. Ohio Governor Kasich is here. In Ohio, they apparently have portable morgues because the morgues are overfilling with people who have overdosed on heroin or painkillers. So they have cold storage trailers on the streets where they are picking up the dead and putting them in.
I have not heard that. I've been following this myself because we've got Alabama, unfortunately, happens to be one of the top states for the opioid crisis with lots of overdoses here. And I think one stat for our state is that we have more prescriptions for opioids than there are people in Alabama. But I've never heard of needing portable morgues. We have portable classrooms in some cities in Mobile or some cities in Alabama, but not portable morgues.
Yeah, it's really chilling. I mean, the way it was described to me is that basically this epidemic is the way that is kind of like the HIV/AIDS epidemic was through certain cities in the 80s and the early 90s. I mean, it's really having that kind of ravaging effect on certain communities. But yeah, I mean, portable morgues in Ohio, and then they're trying a number of different ways to treat this or to combat it. And one of the ways being talked about is using legal marijuana, I guess. People feel pain. For instance, in Colorado, the governor of Colorado's here. People feel pain. They maybe choose legal marijuana instead of going to painkillers. And I guess we have actually seen a decrease in the amount of opiate-related deaths in that state.
I'm not surprised. I saw the headline this morning about Nevada needing some type of emergency action in their legislature because of a marijuana shortage, which I've never thought I would ever read a headline about a state considering a shortage of marijuana an emergency. And I'm sure, yes, to address the opioid crisis, but I think whispering to each other, the governors are, that look at the taxes we're getting off this legal dope.
Oh, yeah. I mean, the tax revenue is tremendous. I think they had well over $70 million in Colorado last year alone. So there's a lot of tax revenue there. But then you also have to, because I was talking about this, actually looking at this in Rhode Island. And then I guess the governor was telling me, yeah, but you have to take into account the public safety issues because, I mean, you have like people that can, obviously, public intoxication or drunken driving, what have you. But what about, being high and driving? I guess that would kind of be something similar. I don't know. So that would be something that they'd have to look at and they would have to address. When are you too high or stoned or whatever to get behind the wheel?
All right. So I know we're almost out of time here. Before we go, though, I know it's a federal issue, the dealing with health care, but is that coming up at all? Are governors talking about their own states having to deal with Obamacare exchanges and things like that? Is that on the radar?
Yeah, I think that, a lot of states a lot of governors are talking about, for instance, cuts to Medicaid in this latest health care bill. And there's going to be a big press conference with several Democratic governors coming out against it. They're also talking about, because the new bill would also inject billions of dollars for the opioid epidemic to help states out. And so that's a positive for many states, but clearly, they are feeling, I guess, the buckling of Obamacare with premiums driving up and the cost for medicine skyrocketing as well.
All right, well, Joe Gomez, out of time. Thank you very much for your report. Have a great weekend.
Okay, thanks.
There he goes, Joe Gomez, NBC News Radio national correspondent there. With, every time there's a story about the opioid epidemic, something in it just jumps out as it's hard to comprehend that it's that big of a problem. And the idea that they don't have enough morgue space in Ohio, that is I want to read more about that, because if that is really the case, that is it's just hard to imagine, isn't it? That you would run out of morgue space for something like that, all from overdoses, accidental overdoses. I've had it explained to me locally that the reason these overdoses are happening is a lot of time when the people turn from the opioids and buy heroin, they try to buy heroin on the street and often don't know exactly what they're getting and get things that are a lot more powerful and deadly. All right, more show to come after news, traffic, and weather. Uncle Henry Show.
Hi, I'm Jay Farner, CEO of Quicken Loans. Every day people ask me, can I still take advantage of today's low rates? Is it still a good time to refinance? The answer is yes. Now's a great time to call Quicken Loans at 800-QUICKEN. The rate today on a 30-year fixed-rate mortgage is 3.99%, APR 4.19%. Call us today at 800-QUICKEN or go to QuickenLoans.com. That's 800-QUICKEN.
Call for cost information and conditions. Equal housing lender. Licensed in all 50 states. NMLSConsumerAccess.org number 3030.
Do you think identity theft is only when someone adds charges to your credit card? It's actually when someone pretends to be you to open new accounts in your name or any number of bad things. LifeLock can help. We use proprietary technology to alert you to a huge range of identity threats. And if you have a problem, we have a team of U.S.-based specialists who will work to fix it. No one can prevent all identity theft or monitor all transactions at all businesses. Membership starts at $9.99 a month, plus applicable taxes. Go to LifeLock.com and use promo code NEWS to get 10% off.
Finding great candidates to hire can be, well, like trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along. Which is why you should try ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter is different. It doesn't depend on candidates finding you. It finds them. With its powerful technology, ZipRecruiter distributes your job everywhere it needs to be to find the right candidates. In fact, over 80% of jobs on ZipRecruiter get a qualified candidate in just one day. So, while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, only ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
used by businesses of all sizes. ZipRecruiter offers the most qualified job candidates with immediate results. And right now you can try ZipRecruiter free. That's right, free. Just go to ZipRecruiter.com/trial. That's ZipRecruiter.com/trial for your free trial. ZipRecruiter.com/trial.
Your home for traffic and weather on the nines every morning. News Radio 710 WNTM, Mobile, and iHeart Radio Station 99.9 WMXC HD3 Mobile. 710 Time Saver Traffic from the Main Street Flooring and Design Traffic Center.
We have picked up a couple of new accidents on the board, one of them on North University and Overlook and Schillinger and Marty Drive. We've had a couple of interstate accidents this morning involving vehicles that ran off the roadway. One of them, I-10 at Range Line. Vehicle, though, has been pulled back onto the roadway. There's a tow truck on scene, and it looks like that one's just about cleared. We really aren't seeing any delays, though, through that area. With Time Saver Traffic, I'm Ray Romero.
Now, Gulf Coast weather from Local 15.
Good morning and TGIF. I'm meteorologist Jake Dunn. We've got mostly cloudy skies in the forecast today with a 50% chance of storms and a high of 90. Should be a quiet Friday night. We fall down to 74 and then expect highs in the upper 80s to near 90 this weekend with more showers and storms, especially on Sunday. I'm meteorologist Jake Dunn for this iHeart radio station.
He said he's sorry. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. The words of a now-confessed killer in Pennsylvania who admits to murdering 4 men who went missing last week. Fox's Tanya J. Powers on the case live.
Dave, the Associated Press reports Cosmo DiNardo was a drug dealer who told investigators he felt cheated or threatened during 3 drug transactions, so he killed the 4 missing men and burned their bodies.
That full confession was so much that he admitted to his participation or the commission of the 4 murders.
DiNardo's attorney Paul Lang, he says his client told police where to find the bodies after the DA agreed not to seek the death penalty. An accomplice has also been taken into custody, Dave.
Tanya, terror attack at a holy site in Jerusalem. Jews call it Holy Mount. It's noble sanctuary to Muslims. 3 Palestinians shot at Israeli police.
Medics, motorbikes, intensive care ambulances and ambulances treated and evacuated at least 3 injured to hospital.
That's a paramedic. 2 of the officers later died. All 3 of the attackers were also killed. A federal judge has revised President Trump's travel ban affecting 6 mostly Muslim countries considered terror threats, siding with Hawaii, expanding what a bona fide relationship is for those still allowed to come here to include if they have grandparents, aunts or uncles, nieces or nephews, even cousins in the U.S. President Trump and the First Lady left Paris a short time ago, flying home.
And I would like to thank them and thank the United States of America for the decision it took 100 years ago.
French President Macron referring to World War I after a military parade in Paris that featured American troops marching along. Several hours ago, the president tweeted, after all these years suffering through Obamacare, Republican senators must come through as promised. Dan Sullivan just told Fox he's still reading the revised reform plan.
There's an enormous amount of new flexibility to the states. I mean, if you believe in the 10th Amendment, that is a very, very positive aspect.
However, 2 senators say they don't support the revised plan. Fox News, fair and balanced.
A robber uses a gun and Facebook. I'm Local 15's Darwin Singleton with this iHeart Radio News Update. A warning from a Mobile mom who used Facebook Marketplace to find someone to install a program on her cell phone. That request ended with her looking down the barrel of a gun. Andrita Lee says she used the site to locate a person who claimed he could perform that task, and then, Lee says, she took all the precautions, looking at the man's mutual online friends and even investigating his criminal history. But when they met up this past Monday on Moffett Road, the man who was supposed to help her pulled out a gun, taking her cell phone and her laptop. Hours later, police arrested and charged 19-year-old Randall Terrell and 17-year-old Cedric Williams, charging them both with robbery of first degree. At first, Mobile firefighters thought they were battling a blaze in an abandoned house, but it wasn't abandoned. 4 people called the house a home. It was located on Chin Street. When firefighters got there, though, Thursday afternoon, flames were already shooting out of the house. There were no utilities hooked up to the house. Investigators are still looking for the cause. No injuries reported. A tuition hike is coming for students in Alabama's 2-year college system. Trustees have approved a 1.4% increase in tuition for the Alabama Community College system. The price of a credit hour will increase by $2, so Alabama residents will now pay $119 instead of $117 per credit. The system includes 25 2-year colleges statewide, More than 83,000 people are enrolled in courses that offer credit hours. News breaks while you sleep, so when you wake, we'll catch you up with what's happening along the Gulf Coast and around the world every weekday morning on Local 15 Today. We start at 5 a.m. I'm Local 15's Darwin Singleton for this iHeart radio station.
Hey guys, I'm Jillian Michaels, and you can catch my irreverent, super fun, crazy, and wild podcast. It's free on iHeartRadio right now. All the best info on career advice, dating, life lessons, health, fitness, nutrition. Search for Jillian Michaels on iHeartRadio.
From the Mercedes-Benz of Mobile Studios, this is the Uncle Henry Show on News Radio 710 WNTM.
Uncle Henry Show. Thank you for listening to the Uncle Henry Show here on News Radio 710 WNTM, 99.5 FM, The Jag. What a beautiful morning it is. By the way, you can watch, you can look, you can watch me just standing in here drinking coffee by going to the News Radio 710 WNTM Facebook page and looking at the video there, or on the Uncle Henry YouTube channel. Coming up in about 15 minutes, we'll talk to the Republican Party County Chairman of Baldwin County, Michael Hoyt. Apparently a big load of politicians will be in Baldwin County Saturday for an event, and we will talk about that. In case you wanted to go see a load of politicians, you'll be able to do that Saturday. I saw a story this morning about a former politician. You may remember the governor known as the Love Gov, ex-Governor Bentley. He's been in the news a couple of times this week. Earlier this week, there was some story about how he was trying to get his pistol permit reinstated. Now, there's a story out that he is going to be offering free skin cancer checks Saturday. Free skin cancer checks Saturday at his clinic in Tuscaloosa from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. How many people do you think are going to try to get in for their free skin cancer screening from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m.? Now, this is, I'm trying to think of the right way to say this in delicate terms. To check skin cancer, to do a skin cancer check, it's usually done with the eyeball test, where the qualified medical professional uses their eyeballs to look at your skin. So there are going to be people lined up from 9 to 3 for the former Love Gov to look at their bodies. I'm trying to be delicate here. So if that appeals to you, that's 9 to 3 Saturday at his clinic. I wonder how many people, not just from Tuscaloosa, but from different parts of the state, will make the drive to Tuscaloosa so they can have a big-time Alabama celebrity look at them, look at their skin. But it is important. There's a lot of skin cancer in this part of the country because we like to be outside a lot. So have that done yourself. This is not a commercial for Dr. Thomas Bender, Advanced Dermatology and Skincare Center, but that's who I would recommend. Just person to person. There's more to get to. Traffic and weather together. We have it for you every 10 minutes on the 9s, and then more Uncle Henry Show.
Time saver traffic from the Dean McCrary Porsche Traffic Center.
We have picked up a couple of new accidents on the board. One of them on North University and Overlook and Schillinger and Marty Drive. We've had a couple of interstate accidents this morning involving vehicles that ran off the roadway. One of them, I-10 at Range Line. Vehicle, though, has been pulled back onto the roadway. There's a tow truck on scene, and it looks like that one's just about cleared. We really aren't seeing any delays, though, through that area. With Time Saver Traffic, I'm Ray Romero.
This report is brought to you by the T.J. Martell Foundation.
Hey everybody, I'm Eric Church, asking you to join me in the fight against leukemia, cancer, and AIDS through the T.J. Martell Foundation. Your support helps facilitate cutting-edge research that will lead to more effective treatments and save more lives. Visit tjmartell.org to learn about music's promise for a cure.
Gulf Coast weather from Local 15 and the Kemco Metal Buildings Weather Center.
Hello and happy Friday. I'm meteorologist Jake Dunn with Local 15. We've got, you guessed it, more showers and storms in the forecast today. We'll call it a 50% chance of getting wet, mainly along the coast during the first half of the day. Then those storms will venture inland as we move into the afternoon. All of that said, expect mostly cloudy skies and a high of 90. I'm meteorologist Jake Dunn for this iHeart radio station.
This report is brought to you by Unbound.
Right now, there are young people across the world facing a tough choice. Continue their dream of education or drop out to help their family put food on the table. You can help change their future in a single moment. See how far your support can go at unbound.org.
You're home for Rush every weekday at 11. This is the Uncle Henry Show on News Radio 710 WNTM.
Uncle Henry Show, thank you for listening to this station. Coming up in about 10 minutes, the chairman of the Baldwin County Republican Party will join us briefly to talk about a big load of politicians that are going to be in Baldwin County for, I guess it's a forum, or it's a chance for you to actually meet these politicians and hear what they have to say before you vote for them. Very useful. So we'll get to that coming up in about 10 minutes. About an hour ago on this show, I was talking about a report that Andrea Ramey did for Local 15 about the mayor's race in Mobile and crime. It's an issue in the mayor's race with Sam Jones, former mayor, talking about how the city should be doing more to prevent crime. And then the current mayor responding to all of that. And it was a familiar kind of conversation because during the Sam Jones years, I do remember people feeling that there was more crime, and we were told, no, you just are perceiving it. It's a perception of, it's not really crime, you're just perceiving there's crime, but it's not really there. And we're being told now that you can look at the stats and see that crime has been going down for the past several years, even though we've had an uptick in homicides locally. So the conversation is kind of the same as it's been before. And Cliff is with us on this topic. Cliff, good morning.
Good morning, Uncle Henry.
Yes.
Uncle Henry, a lot of the crime in certain neighborhoods are going unreported, too, or misreported. Several times on the street behind me. On one occasion, a lady went back there to buy drugs and got into an altercation with the drug dealer. So the drug dealer slapped her. She pulled out a 9, shot at him about 15 times, then jumps in her car, runs around on Dolphin Island Parkway and runs into a telegram pole and knock it down. And then it's reported as a domestic violence case, not drugs or attempted murder. And that's going on in that back there on that street. I think they had a bunch of calls. All they have to do is just count the calls, but it's coming up something else.
Okay. All right. Well, that's I'm glad you called in with that. That's an interesting variation on how it would be reported. It was not really domestic violence. It was drug dealing, slapping, shooting, all that kind of stuff.
And it's going on all the time in certain neighborhoods. A lot of it, all the shooting at each other, the gunfire and all that, it doesn't get reported because by the time the cops get there, everything is cleaned up.
All right, well, Cliff, thank you for that.
Yeah, bless you, Uncle.
I'm sure that now, if this is happening in Cliff's neighborhood, then his perception of crime is he's probably perceiving quite a bit of it. I'm not a legal expert, so I don't know what the charges would be on drug dealing. Slapping, I guess, would be assault. Whipping out a gun and shooting somebody numerous times would be attempted murder. Running into a telephone pole would be reckless driving. I don't know. I'm not an expert on legal matters, as you can tell. All right, coming up, we'll find out what all those politicians are going to be doing in Baldwin County tomorrow. That's in the next segment of the Uncle Henry Show. Smart Home America is a nonprofit set up to help you save money by learning just how to buy the right homeowner's insurance, how to fortify your house, how to be more energy efficient, and more. Learn at smarthomeamerica.org.
Do you think identity theft is only when someone adds charges to your credit card? It's actually when someone pretends to be you to open new accounts in your name or any number of bad things. LifeLock can help. We use proprietary technology to alert you to a huge range of identity threats. And if you have a problem, we have a team of US-based specialists who will work to fix it. No one can prevent all identity theft or monitor all transactions at all businesses. Membership starts at $9.99 a month, plus applicable taxes. Go to lifelock.com and use promo code NEWS to get 10% off.
Hi, I'm Jay Farner, CEO of Quicken Loans. Every day people ask me, can I still take advantage of today's low rates? Is it still a good time to refinance? The answer is yes. Now's a great time to call Quicken Loans at 800-QUICKEN. The rate today on a 30-year fixed-rate mortgage is 3.99%, APR 4.19%. Call us today at 800-QUICKEN or go to QuickenLoans.com. That's 800-QUICKEN.
Call for cost information and conditions. Equal housing lender. Licensed in all 50 states. NMLSConsumerAccess.org number.
Hello, Facebook. Here we are together on Facebook, waiting for the phone call from the person that's in charge of the Baldwin County Republican Party. There are going to be a lot of politicians I think it's in Robertsdale. Whenever you have a large group of politicians, now with cows, it's like a herd. And with geese, it's a flock. And with politicians, it's a load. It's a big load of politicians, and they're going to be in Robertsdale. So we'll get to that as I watch and wait for the guest to call in. That may be him ringing in right now. Good morning to Roger Bird, watching on Facebook. Also Scotty White of ScottyWhite.com. His website does look professional. Let's see. Trying to confirm if it's him or not. It is. Okay, so our guest is ready. So when we go back on the radio, we'll have the guest to tell us about this event. I went to something like it. I'm trying to think of how many years ago it was. It was the year that Bradley Byrne and Robert Bentley ended up in a runoff against each other. So it was over 8 years ago. But I went to one of those events, and it's a good type of event to attend, help you decide who you want to vote for. So we'll get into that coming up here in less than 2 minutes when we go back on the radio. All right, we're going to have traffic and weather. And once we get through the traffic and the weather, then we'll talk to our guest about the event. The event, I think, is pork and politics, so there will be pork, which is good. All right, stand by.
Time of difference. Autism Speaks. It's time to listen.
Brought to you by Autism Speaks and the Ad Council.
710 Time Saver Traffic from the Main Street Flooring and Design Traffic Center.
The drive-in this morning can best be described as a wet mess. The heaviest of the thunderstorms are right on the Mississippi side of the line around the Pascagoula area. However, wherever you are, you're going to get a little bit wet this morning as there is a very widespread system continuing to push up from the Gulf this morning. A couple of accidents in the wet conditions as well, including North University at Overlook and Schillinger and Marty Drive. With Time Saver Traffic, I'm Ray Romero.
This report is brought to you by LifeLock. It's morning. Here's an eye-opener. LifeLock can see more threats to your identity than you can see if you're just monitoring your credit. And if something happens, a U.S.-based specialist can work to fix it. Go to LifeLock.com. Use promo code RISK to save 10%.
Now, Gulf Coast weather from Local 15.
Good morning and TGIF. I'm meteorologist Jake Dunn. We've got mostly cloudy skies in the forecast today with a 50% chance of storms and a high of 90. Should be a quiet Friday night. We fall down to 74 and then expect highs in the upper 80s to near 90 this weekend with more showers and storms, especially on Sunday. I'm meteorologist Jake Dunn for this iHeart radio station.
We love Nick Saban. Just wanted to get that out of the way. This is the Uncle Henry Show on News Radio 710 WNTM.
Uncle Henry Show, thank you for listening to the Uncle Henry Show. News from Fox and from Local 15's Darwin coming up in about 10 minutes. Before we get to that, we're going to talk to the Republican Party Baldwin County Chairman Michael Hoyt. Michael Hoyt, good morning.
Good morning, Uncle Henry. How are you this morning?
Fantastic. Thank you so much for taking a little bit of time to tell us about this event. Now, the event is tomorrow. Is it Pork and Politics? Is that what it's called?
It's Pork and Politics, and the pork is not reference to the political kind, but barbecue pork sandwiches.
Very good.
Available. Yes.
That's very good. Barbecue pork is fantastic. You could have gone with fried fish, but barbecue pork is fantastic. Now, this is kind of extraordinary in that it sounds like you're getting a lot of the top Senate candidates to show up. Who's going to be there?
Uncle Henry, we're going to have 7 out of the 10 candidates there. We'll have Dr. James Beretta from Pelham, Dr. Randy Brinson, the physician in Montgomery. We will have Congressman Mo Brooks, Dom Gentile, businessman out of Hoover. Judge Roy Moore will be there. Brian Peoples, business consultant from out of Birmingham, and of course, and our own Senator, State Senator Tripp Pittman will be there. So we're going to have a good turnout.
Okay, that is a great number of the Senate candidates there. Now, how is this going to work? This is from 11 to 2. Is there going to be a formal part of this where questions are asked of each candidate?
Yes, Uncle Henry, beginning at 11 o'clock, we'll serve lunch, and that'll be an opportunity for the public. And by the way, there's no charge. This is open to the public. This is something that the Republican Party of Baldwin County, along with the South Baldwin Republican women, have put on for the people. So there's no charge. It's general admission. So you just come on. Anybody who wants to attend, we'll start serving lunch at 11. The candidates will have tables set up with their various campaign materials, and the people will have an opportunity to kind of mingle around and visit with them. And then at noon, we'll kind of get the festivities started as far as the formal part of the event, which we'll have State Party Chairwoman Terry Lathan will be there, and she will moderate. And the format is going to be a question and answer format. It's going to be questions that are submitted by the people there in attendance, and there'll be a table set up where people can write down questions and submit those. And Chairwoman Lathan will pick those questions, pick the candidates to whom to direct them, and it'll be kind of a lightning round situation. It's not going to be a bunch of political stump speeches by a bunch of candidates. So,
well, good luck with that. That's good. That's very. You say that, but then you have seven people running for office. Somebody's going to want to give the Gettysburg Address when they're up there.
Well, we're going to have somebody keeping the time, but I don't think they're going to have one of those Showtime at the Apollo hooks or whatever there to pull them off the stage. But we'll hopefully keep the time limit in order there.
All right, we have not yet mentioned where, and I'm sure a lot of people are wondering where. This is going to be the PZK Hall
This is the PZK, in Robertsdale. Quickly, the address is 17933 Highway 104 in Robertsdale. If you were traveling on 104, like from the Fairhope area heading toward Robertsdale, it would be on your left. It would be on the north side of the highway there.
Right. If you were coming from Fairhope, it would be right as you get out of Silver Hill. It's right there, easy to find.
That's right, Uncle Henry.
All right.
And briefly, you talked about the event. You actually emceed the event, and it was about 8 years ago. And if you'll remember, Uncle Henry, it was down at Fairhope Pier.
No, and
it was a long day, if that's what you're referring
no,
to.
I'm referring to a day I went to PZK Hall, the same venue, and this was during the governor's race, and there were like 8 or 10 people running for governor then. Bradley Byrne. And I remember one of the things that was interesting about it was that you don't get to just meet the Senate candidates. A lot of the local political figures show up as well. So there's a good chance you'll be able to meet state representatives, state senators, mayors. You have a lot of people show up for this.
It'll be a good turnout of the voters, and you're right, and you'll have a lot of local politicians. So it'll be a good opportunity to interact with political people if that's your thing. And we hope a lot of people will come out and see their representatives.
Well, even if it's not your thing, I've said this a lot on the air, that there's really no substitute for meeting candidates face-to-face. Even if you're only speaking for 30 seconds and shaking hands, you can still intuit a lot about candidates with those face-to-face meetings. I think it's well worth a voter's time to go and participate in something like this.
Well, I agree, and I think that just as in any interactions you have in life, that first impression, as you said, is you can intuit. And how do you feel about that person meeting them? Do they have a good handshake? Do they make eye contact? And, we have a lot of people that are first-time office seekers, people from all over different parts of the state. And you know how it is down here, Uncle Henry. If you're north of I-10, a lot of times we don't know who you are. So
absolutely.
It'll be an opportunity to meet some of those people whom you may not have ever even heard of before. And even somebody like Congressman Mo Brooks, who is, yes, he's a sitting congressman, but he's way up there in North Alabama, and we just don't know him down here. So it'll be a good opportunity for people to get to meet those type of folks.
Again, that is PZK Hall in Robertsdale, and this is free to the public, beginning at 11 tomorrow. Mr. Hoyt, thank you for your time. We appreciate it.
Thank you, Uncle Henry. Take care.
You may think to yourself, what good is it meeting somebody I've never heard of before? People thought that Robert Bentley had no chance of being governor. And we saw how that turned out.
This is a Bloomberg Market Minute. Investors are eyeing the big banks as they report their earnings today. J.P. Morgan Chase earned $26.5 billion in profit over the past 12 months, the most ever by any major U.S. bank. While trading results were worse than the firm had warned, second quarter earnings set a record. Still, shares are moving lower in pre-market trading. Citigroup beat earnings and revenue estimates in the latest quarter. Shares are edging higher. Wells Fargo is down before the opening bell. The bank's earnings report was mixed. Wells Fargo said it remains committed to reducing expenses. Stock index futures are narrowly mixed this morning as crude oil rises. Right now we have oil up about 0.9% at $46.48 a barrel. S&P futures are down almost 2 points. Dow futures are down 6. NASDAQ futures are little changed to lower. Today we're also watching for a number of economic reports. We get the latest update on consumer sentiment, consumer prices, retail sales, and industrial production. Gina Cervetti, Bloomberg Radio.
It's Bess from Lazy Boy. What are we talking about this time?
Life is great.
How come?
All of my customers are delighted. Everywhere I go, I run into somebody who's telling me how happy one of their friends or relatives is with their Lazy Boy furniture.
That's great!
I love it. I went to dinner the other night and talked with a couple whose next-door neighbor had furniture delivered earlier that day, and they told me how happy their neighbors were. So I got a thank you note from their neighbors.
Ooh, what did it say?
How happy they were, and they couldn't wait to could not thank us enough.
That's great.
It gets better.
You're kidding.
Another couple walked in at dinner and told us how much their daughter loved her new furniture.
Oh, people must have been standing in line.
How'd you know? Isn't that great? I actually had gone out on that delivery, and she told me how much she loved her new furniture.
That's incredible.
Gets better.
How could it?
The daughter loved her furniture so much, she sent her best friend in, and we did her living too. Room 2 gets better.
How?
With Super Saturday sales event where we can make life better while we save you a whole lot of money.
Save us a whole lot of money?
710 Time Saver Traffic from the Dean McCrary Mazda Traffic Center.
The experts call this the summer weather pattern, but that doesn't mean you have to like the pattern. We are seeing an awful lot of rain again this morning, moving up from the Gulf. It's making the drive throughout the region very wet today. We have not had any reports of street flooding, though, or anything like that. So it's not all that bad, all things considered. And our accident count a little bit higher than usual, perhaps because of the weather this morning. Latest is Hillcrest and Greenlawn, also still working University and Overlook, and Schillinger and Marty Drive. With Time Saver Traffic, I'm Ray Romero.
Gulf Coast weather from Local 15 and the Kemco Metal Buildings Weather Center.
Hello and happy Friday. I'm meteorologist Jake Dunn with Local 15. We've got, you guessed it, more showers and storms in the forecast today. We'll call it a 50% chance of getting wet, mainly along the coast during the first half of the day. Then those storms will venture inland as we move into the afternoon. All of that said, expect mostly cloudy skies and a high of 90. I'm meteorologist Jake Dunn for this iHeart radio station.
A robber uses a gun and Facebook. I'm Local 15's Darwin Singleton with this iHeart Radio News Update. A warning from a Mobile mom who used Facebook Marketplace to find someone to install a program on her cell phone. That request ended with her looking down the barrel of a gun. Andrita Lee says she used the site to locate a person who claimed he could perform that task, and then, Lee says, she took all the precautions, looking at the man's mutual online friends and even investigating his criminal history. But when they met up this past Monday on Moffett Road, the man who was supposed to help her pulled out a gun, taking her cell phone and her laptop. Hours later, police arrested and charged 19-year-old Randall Terrell and 17-year-old Cedric Williams, charging them both with robbery in first degree. At first, Mobile firefighters thought they were battling a blaze in an abandoned house, but it wasn't abandoned. 4 people called the house a home. It was located on Chin Street. When firefighters got there, though, Thursday afternoon, flames were already shooting out of the house. There were no utilities hooked up to the house. Investigators are still looking for the cause. No injuries reported. A tuition hike is coming for students in Alabama's 2-year college system. Trustees have approved a 1.4% increase in tuition for the Alabama Community College system. The price of a credit hour will increase by $2, so Alabama residents will now pay $119 instead of $117 per credit. The system includes 25 2-year colleges statewide. More than 83,000 people are enrolled in courses that offer credit hours. News breaks while you sleep, so when you wake, we'll catch you up with what's happening along the Gulf Coast and around the world every weekday morning on Local 15 Today. We start at 5 a.m. I'm Local 15's Darwin Singleton for this iHeart radio station.
Fox News Radio, I'm Lillian Wu. The president on his way back from Paris, where he took part in Bastille Day celebrations. It's been 100 years since the U.S. entry into World War I to help France.
A precision military marching band played the U.S. and the French national anthems. Emmanuel Macron took to the microphone at the end of this parade to talk about the enduring friendship between the United States and France, saying that the presence of President Donald Trump at his side was a testament that relationship is going to last the test of time.
Fox's John Roberts. The Senate Republican leader pushing for a vote next week on the GOP's revised health care bill. Counselor to the president, Kellyanne Conway, blasting Democrats on Fox and Friends.
They have only come to the table with 2 ideas.
Some lawmakers have complained the bill was put together without an open drafting session. Fox News. We report, you decide.
Struggling to make your house payment? You may qualify for Hardest Hit Alabama, a federally funded foreclosure prevention program that helped me keep my home. After an unexpected layoff, I could no longer pay my mortgage. Hardest Hit Alabama saved me. It helped me keep my home and preserve my sense of self so I could make a fresh start. Visit www.hardesthitalabama.com to see if they can help you too. Brought to you by Hardest Hit Alabama, the ABA, and this station.
This is Uncle Henry. I want to tell you about Dr. Thomas Bender and Advanced Dermatology and Skincare Center. We love living on the Gulf Coast. We love all the fun activities, the fishing, the golf. But years of being out in the elements Well, that can accelerate damage to your skin. That can accelerate the aging process of your skin. Dr. Bender can help you with that. Dr. Bender is a board-certified dermatologist. He provides the latest innovations in medical skincare and cosmetic skincare, and he also has all the latest technology. He's got 3 convenient locations, Mobile, Daphne, and Bay Minette. You can find out more about Dr. Bender and all of the services he provides by going online. The website is advanceddermclinic.com. That's advanceddermclinic.com. You can make an appointment there online, or you can call for your appointment. The number is 251-631-3570. That's Advanced Dermatology and Skincare Center.
Sheba is 105 lean pounds of happy dog for life because she gets fed Dynavite and LicoChops.
Order a 90-day supply of Dynavite for your dog this week.
We'll send you a bottle of LicoChops free.
New improved LicoChops with omega-6, omega-3, vitamin E.
And now 6 extra direct-fed microbials.
Even better for the digestive tract and immune system.
Try LicoChops.
Free this week at Dynavite.com.
DINOVITE.com.
If you want to work until you drop, reduce your standard of living in retirement, or lose more of your hard-earned money in the stock market, then just ignore me. But if you'd like to generate a steady, predictable income, I'm talking real wealth and financial security for as long as you live, then listen to this. A free report is now available that reveals the money-making secrets Wall Street and the banks don't want you to know. It reveals how you can get guaranteed growth, safety, and wealth-building power without risking your money in the Wall Street casino. To get your free special report, visit bankonyourself.com. That's bankonyourself.com.
This morning at 9, Ask the Expert. Then Rush at 11. Right now, it's Uncle Henry on News Radio 710 WNTM.
We've arrived at the Daily Reagan here on News Radio 710 WNTM 99.5 FM. The JAG, the Daily Reagan, a presentation of SAD Healthcare. SAAD, sadhealthcare.com. Here is the president talking to a group of contractors.
I asked you then to support our economic recovery program. You did so even though in the short term many of your firms went through some tough times. But you knew that in the end it was free enterprise, not government regulation, not high taxes or big government spending, but free enterprise that had led to the building of a great America. And I like to point out that the Federal Register, which lists all new regulations, is just a little more than half the size it was when we came here. The estimate is that we eliminated, for our citizens and small businesses, some 600 million man-hours a year of work just filling out government forms in answer to the regulations. You knew that what America needed as she entered the 1980s was a new birth of an economic freedom. As I said, it was tough at first, for some of you, very tough. But today, the American economy is in the longest peacetime expansion in U.S. history. Indeed, this month, April marks the 65th straight month of economic growth. We've created nearly 16 million new jobs, jobs that on balance are better and higher paying. Altogether, the United States has created close to twice as many new jobs as the other leading industrialized nations combined. During this expansion, a greater percentage of our population is employed than at any other time in our history.
Sounds good. The Daily Reagan, a presentation of SAD Healthcare, SAAD, sadhealthcare.com. We have traffic and weather together coming up in just a moment. Norman, good morning.
Good morning.
Yes.
How y'all doing?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing good. I guess I got to get on a different schedule because now when I've been trying to call, I can't get through because you got Darwin on, and then I can't, I can't hold on 15 minutes, so I'll have to call earlier.
I'll get you a special schedule for you to call.
All right. Well, look, this whole garbage, with the former mayor saying all this stuff about current crime rates, that is just so ridiculous. It's like, people just have short-term memory. They don't remember how bad it was. And I can't believe they try to elect that. How in the world are you going to run on your previous crime record? You know what I'm saying? With as bad as it was, you're going to have the nerve to say, yeah, we're going to get this crime level back to the way it was. That's just the most ridiculous thing I've just about ever heard.
People have short memories.
You're right. Well, anyhow, we're getting in close to 50 days to kickoff. Y'all pray for this country. God bless America. Roll Tide.
Roll Tide, roll! Thank you, Norman, for the Roll Tide.
The experts call this the summer weather pattern, but that doesn't mean you have to like the pattern. We are seeing an awful lot of rain again this morning, moving up from the Gulf. It's making the drive throughout the region very wet today. We have not had any reports of street flooding, though, or anything like that. So it's not all that bad, all things considered. And our accident count a little bit higher than usual, perhaps because of the weather this morning. Latest is Hillcrest and Greenlaw, also still working University and Overlook, and Schillinger and Marty Drive. With Time Saver Traffic, I'm Ray Romero.
This report is brought to you by LifeLock. It's morning. Here's an eye-opener. LifeLock can see more threats to your identity than you can see if you're just monitoring your credit. And if something happens, a U.S.-based specialist can work to fix it. Go to LifeLock.com. Use promo code RISK to save 10%.
Now, Gulf Coast weather from Local 15.
Good morning and TGIF. I'm meteorologist Jake Dunn. We've got mostly cloudy skies in the forecast today with a 50% chance of storms and a high of 90. Should be a quiet Friday night. We fall down to 74 and then expect highs in the upper 80s to near 90 this weekend with more showers and storms, especially on Sunday. I'm meteorologist Jake Dunn for this iHeart radio station.
This report is brought to you by LifeLock. It's morning. Here's an eye-opener. LifeLock can see more threats to your identity than you can see if you're just monitoring your credit. And if something happens, a U.S.-based specialist can work to fix it. Go to LifeLock.com. Use promo code RISK to save 10%.
Roll Tide. This is the Uncle Henry Show on News Radio 710 WNTM.
Uncle Henry Show, we have Local 15's Darwin coming up in about 10 minutes. We'll talk to him about what they're covering today at Local 15. Right now, Angelo, MobileBayCoins.com. You can find Mobile Bay Coins in Midtown at 2204 Government Street. Angelo is always out and about doing interesting things. Angelo, have you ever been to this pole vaulting event in downtown Mobile?
I have not. I've heard about it because it's been going on for several years now, but I've never made it down to the actual event. I've done the art walk a couple times, but not the pole vault.
Well, that's tomorrow. What intrigues me about it, Angelo, is it's from 9 a.m. to midnight, and I didn't realize there was pole vaulting at midnight.
I'm just amazed at that length of time. You said 9 in the morning till midnight?
Yes.
That's a lot of pole vaulting activity. I was thinking maybe a couple hours worth of pole vaulting, but the entire day?
Maybe it's a misprint. Maybe I'm misunderstanding it. Maybe we've got something online that's fake news. Maybe it's fake news.
Maybe it's 9 in the morning till noon or 9 p.m. to midnight. I can see something like that.
I'll have to get to the bottom of it soon. Maybe Darwin can tell me about it. But that. There you go. But you've never been. Although if it were at night, is it somewhat intriguing, the idea of 11:30 p.m. somebody pole vaulting?
It seems to me like between a combination of it being dark and how the lights would be staged, it would be really difficult to see what in the heck was going on at that point.
All right. Well, before we run out of time here, I want to talk to you, Angelo, briefly about gold and silver marketing, because earlier this week, Angelo and I had some conversations on the air about the way some products are marketed in the country involving precious metals and how to decide whether or not it's hype or not. And I saw a news story today that talks about silver. The prices have been down a bit this year, and some analysts are saying that this is a once-in-a-decade opportunity for people to stock up on something like silver. Now, is that just hype, or is there some truth to that this is a really good time to get silver?
Well, it is a good time to get silver, Uncle Henry. I do agree with that, but I would also say that comments like once-in-a-decade opportunity, that is definitely hype. All you have to do is go back through the last 10 years, and you can research that and say, okay, here's where gold and silver prices were. Here's the height, here's the low. And I would say right now prices are low, and it is a great opportunity to purchase. But as far as opportunity of a decade, that is certainly misleading information.
Okay, so that is, at the very least, that's an exaggeration of what's going on.
It is. They're overstating things. Last year in January, silver was around $14 an ounce. Today, it's just under $16. So the opportunity of the decade could have been 2 years ago in January. You can go back a little farther than that and see much cheaper silver prices within the last decade. So again, misstating and over-exaggerating the importance of this. Now, that being said, I still do think it's a great opportunity, great time to buy gold and silver. But again, not this opportunity of a decade they're talking about.
For people that have not bought silver, for example, they come into Mobile Bay Coins, 2204 Government Street in Midtown. What would be the good direction to be steered in if I've never bought it before?
Well, I would just say come by the shop and talk to us a little bit, and just be ready to spend just a few dollars. I'm not saying invest a ton of money into gold or silver, but come by the first time, maybe buy an American Silver Eagle or a 1 ounce silver bar and some old U.S. silver coins, maybe a silver dollar. You can get any of those items in the $20 range, so you're not dropping a ton of money. Go home at the end of the day, check it out, talk to your friends, and once you feel comfortable with what you've done, then come in and start building up your purchases.
That's Mobile Bay Coins, 2204 Government Street, Midtown. Look for them on Facebook and like their page. Angelo, have a great weekend at Mobile Bay Coins.
Radio for real men.
Surprise, surprise.
The Rush Revolution rolls on. Weekdays at 11, News Radio 710, WNTM.
I'm always interested in finding ways to save money. And there's a Gulf Coast organization set up to help local homeowners like me and you save. It's a nonprofit called Smart Home America. They've got a website, smarthomeamerica.org. It's become a one-stop resource for homeowners who want to save money. For example, personally, I find shopping for homeowners insurance confusing, intimidating. I'm never sure I'm covered the way I should be. smarthomeamerica.org has a homeowners insurance buying guide to help. They also can teach you about re-roofing with a fortified roof. This is a roof that's safer. It can help you save on insurance and increase your property values. And smarthomeamerica.org also teaches about energy efficiency and more. Check it out yourself. The website is smarthomeamerica.org. Build a stronger home, save money, and get the right insurance. That's smarthomeamerica.org.
President Donald Trump pledged to build a wall to keep America safe.
The wall's going to get built, and the wall is going to stop drugs, and it's going to stop a lot of people from coming in that shouldn't be here.
But liberals are fighting Trump every step of the way, even creating sanctuary cities where police are prohibited from turning over illegal immigrants. Alabama's Senator Luther Strange is working to build Trump's wall and keep us safe. Strange introduced Senate Bill 1126, the Securing the Border and Protecting Our Communities Act. Senator Strange's bill will take federal funds away from sanctuary cities that defy our immigration laws and use that money to build the wall. Call Senator Luther Strange at 205-731-1500 and tell him to keep working to pass S1126. Tell him to keep fighting to build President Trump's wall and keep Alabama safe. Paid for by One Nation, onenationamerica.org.
I'm talking with Jim Bird of Safe Harbor Financial Services, LLC in Daphne, about the most common mistakes retirees make with their money. Jim?
Another financial mistake, Laurie, is not protecting yourself and your nest egg from significant market drops. If you take your age and subtract it from 100, Laurie, that's the amount of money it should be in safe money. But in this environment, safe money can't be CDs, savings accounts, or money market accounts. You've got to find somebody that can think outside the box, and I can. If you'll call me, I will give you some examples. Call me. I'm Jim Bird. I have over 30 years' experience. Let me show you how to keep your money safe and keep more of your money.
Stay tuned for more from Jim Bird of Safe Harbor Financial Services in Daphne. Call now for your complimentary consultation. 625-1226. 625-1226. Safe Harbor Financial Services, LLC in Daphne. 625-1226. Ask for Jim Bird.
Hey, thanks for checking out this preview of our brand new podcast from Mike.com.
I'm Antonia Cerejido.
And I'm Chris Duffy. We'll be your hosts on a voyage into the sometimes scary waters of business, finance, and money matters that we're calling The Payoff.
The idea for this show is that we're regular-ish people who, maybe like you, wish we knew more about money and were better at saving it, keeping it, and earning more of it.
So each episode, we're going to explore the best ways to do all of that. Dollars have never made so much sense.
710 Time Saver Traffic from the Main Street Flooring and Design Traffic Center.
Well, we have picked up a large accident now on eastbound I-10 between Range Line and the I-65 interchange. You've got at least one injury involved here. They're blocking the left lane, and it looks like kind of the far right lane as well. Traffic is passing through the area, but it is a game of connect the dots to get through here. Delay is already a mile in length. Meantime, westbound I-10 before the Moss Point exit in coastal Mississippi, we have an accident there as well, blocking the left lane. With Time Saver Traffic, I'm Ray Romero.
This report is brought to you by LifeLock. It's morning. Here's an eye-opener. LifeLock can see more threats to your identity than you can see if you're just monitoring your credit. And if something happens, a U.S.-based specialist can work to fix it. Go to LifeLock.com. Use promo code RISK to save 10%.
Gulf Coast weather from Local 15 and the Kemco Metal Buildings Weather Center.
Hello and happy Friday. I'm meteorologist Jake Dunn with Local 15. We've got, you guessed it, more showers and storms in the forecast today. We'll call it a 50% chance of getting wet, mainly along the coast during the first half of the day. Then those storms will venture inland as we move into the afternoon. All of that said, expect mostly cloudy skies and a high of 90. I'm meteorologist Jake Dunn for this iHeart radio station.
Your home for traffic and weather on the 9s every morning. This is News Radio 710 WNTM.
Uncle Henry Show. We have news from Fox, news from Local 15 coming up in about 10 minutes. Before we get there, though, we've got Local 15's Darwin with us. Darwin, good morning.
Good morning, Uncle Henry. How are you this morning?
Fantastic, Darwin. Thank you for asking. Well, the story that I really keyed in on from Local 15 last night was Andrea Ramey's story about the Mobile mayor's race and how crime, the perception of crime, and the prevention of crime are being debated by the candidates.
Yeah, we've had a little uptick in some violent crime, actually, especially when it comes to teenagers and guns. And that's, of course, I guess gives Sam Jones an opening to say, hey, you said you're going to make the city of Mobile the safest city by the year, 2020 or so?
Right.
Are we going in that direction or are we not? And the mayor's saying these things take time. We're setting up the structure for that to happen, and you can't expect it in one term, which I guess is why it was a good idea to say, hey, I'm going to do it in 2 terms, because that's a big order to accomplish even in 2 terms. So, I guess it's a delivery on a promise, and sometimes the public doesn't go along with all of our best laid plans. So that is a pretty good debate to have, regardless of how you feel about either candidates. It's something that we pay attention to here a lot at Local 15, of course.
Absolutely. Speaking of paying attention to crime, I noticed I think you had more stories today about people, crime on social media connected to crime. I mean, it's almost every day now.
Yeah. Well, I thought that you would probably bring that up. And we did have 2 stories, one in Mississippi and one here in Mobile, both of them pretty shocking, and both of them something that we ourselves could try to avoid. The first one I'm going to talk about in Mobile, and that is the lady who wanted to have a gentleman install a program on her iPhone, and so she went online and found a guy who was qualified to do it, and she was going to meet with him, pay him to do it at a restaurant parking lot now. She went online. She said she researched who his friends were and his background. When she got there, it was 2 teenagers that robbed her of her phone and her laptop with a gun put to her head. Now, the important thing to know about that is if you plan to go on one of the marketplaces online, the police department has a place right in front of every precinct where you can park and do these deals. And if you wanted to, get there early and say, hey, keep an eye on me. I'm going to do a little trade out here in the parking lot. That's the way you do it, folks, if you're going to do it. The other one, Uncle Henry, was 3 Gulf Coast teenagers from Gulfport, Mississippi, who actually were using a woman who was beaten and told to perform certain unsavory acts online while they were broadcasting this live on Facebook Live to thousands of people who, instead of calling the cops, decided they'd just stay home and watch this illegal activity taking place. 3 teenagers, 2 girls, 1 guy. They are all facing a variety of charges, sexual battery, kidnapping. That one is also hard to stomach, too, to think that not only were these 3 people doing something they shouldn't do, but every single person that watched that and wasn't troubled enough to call the police department, equally guilty.
Yeah, it's as the years go by, it's so hard. Of course, we all recoil from that kind of just a terrible crime like that. But it's also, it amazes that somebody would provide evidence that can they're essentially putting themselves in federal prison. If you are convicted of something like kidnapping, they take that very seriously. They're going to go away for a long time, and it's because not only because they did the crime, but because they documented it themselves.
Let me show you the evidence, ladies and gentlemen. I can hear the attorney right now. Take a look at this. It's all right here for you to see, and you're not the first people to see it. So, yeah, it's amazing how I'm going to call it stupid because it is.
Yeah.
And immoral and stupid. And if I just sometimes wonder how stupid some people can be.
Well, it
do
has
this to themselves and to someone else.
It has to be drug related for the decision-making process to be so truly horrible and off the rails.
You would think that. You would hope that there was something clouding their minds other than just a lack of good judgment. But, I don't know. That one even, I've seen a lot over the years. I've covered news for 40 years now. That one still amazed me when I saw it yesterday. That one had me putting down my frying pan and turning up the TV.
Wow.
So, yeah. But, you can only hope that besides I think 41,000 views it was getting, there's millions of people that would say that's not right, and let's hope that's the case.
Exactly. Now I've got about a minute left here. On a lighter note, happier note, this weekend they have this Dauphin Street pole vaulting thing. Have you ever gone to see this?
I have, and it's kind of funny. I wandered upon it one Saturday, forgetting that it was going on, and that was really kind of fun because I heard people talking about it. I went, well, that's interesting. And then when you got there and the crowd that gathers around it cheering on these people and this atmosphere of sports and carnival, it was really, really fun to watch. And that can be for kids. I mean, there's people, of course, that's in the entertainment district and have adult beverages and so forth. But even your kids, it's just fun to watch these people try to attempt something so difficult to do, and everybody's cheering them on. It's just a great experience. So if you get a chance this Saturday, go downtown to Dauphin Street and watch.
Very good. Hey, Darwin, thank you. Have a great weekend.
Hey, you too, Uncle Henry. We'll see you Monday.
There he goes, Darwin, Local 15. Yeah, committing crime, recording your crime, and it's not what you'd consider a minor crime, a major offenses, and you're documenting it with live video. So it'll never get to a jury because the attorney is going to have to accept whatever, if they can get a deal. Just maybe there's no explaining that at all. We have news, traffic, weather, all of that next, followed by another hour of Uncle Henry Show.